Wow, it's got very, very heated inside Manchester United, and all the information, like everything at Manchester United, has been leaked out, which is actually quite concerning how much is being leaked out and how much of the situation that we know. Because we know Fergie used to go mental, give the players the hairdryer treatment, and we'd hear about it a little bit after. But Ruben Amorim versus Brighton, there was a rage, there was player tears, there was him telling players to step up or F off. There was kicking chairs, flipping tables, the dressing room got wrecked, a TV needs to be replaced. Ruben Amorim has lost it with the Manchester United players. We're also going to talk about transfer news. Cunha, Dorgu coming in, the Garnacho exit looks more likely, a couple other players linked to exits, Rashford and more. But you know what? First of all, fair play to Ruben Amorim. You cannot blame Ruben Amorim for doing this. Fergie used to give the players a hairdryer treatment. Ruben Amorim's lost it. You cannot blame him one bit with the second half performance versus Brighton not good enough. You know, he's angry with the players. There was a clear dressing room bust up with a TV being smashed, damaged, and more. So we're going to break down everything you need to know about Ruben Amorim's absolute breakdown at the Manchester United players. So let's get into the news. Let's get into the stories. Let's discuss everything coming out. Ruben Amorim unleashed a rage in the dressing room after the Brighton defeat of biblical proportions. Tables were flipped over, chairs kicked, and every player was made aware they either shape up or F off. His temper was so bad, tears were shed, and players was silent. Now, that's the first of many stories. Now, we actually had a bit of information come out last night that there was a rage. I think it was even Goldbridge that tweeted that he had some information yesterday that it went down in the United dressing room after Brighton. It was quite well known, everyone in media, that it went down in the dressing room after the Brighton game. But the extent that it's gone down, things being smashed up, tables flipped, chairs kicked over, every player was made aware they've got to shape up or F off. Ruben Amorim is probably going to be the most ruthless manager we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson. And the difference between Ruben Amorim and other managers is, one thing about Ineos is they are quite ruthless. They're happy to get rid of people. And when Ruben Amorim has his rage and wants people to F off, and he tells the players, step up or F off, Ineos will back that. You know, Rashford's almost being forced out. Anthony's essentially gone. Garnacho could be going. Whether you like Ineos' approach or not, and whether you think it's the most rational, it's quite brutal. Now, this came out from United Menace. Now, United Menace are the ones that leak the injury news, and they're very accurate when they leak the injury news. So they've clearly got a source inside Manchester United giving the details of player tears, temper being lost, telling players to F off. But it's not just that. Sorry, one sec. My phone keeps bleeping, so I'm going to put it on silence. But Laurie Whitwell on The Athletic confirmed this story. The Athletic is the most probably reliable sort of information when it comes to United briefs. You know, this isn't a story from The Sun. This isn't a story from The Sun. This isn't a story from the Daily Star or the Mirror. This is a story from people that we know get leaks from those inside the club. And I think the worst thing about the story is, how has it been leaked out? How has this been leaked out? But we even got more information on this. Ruben Amorim has caused damage to the big screen television in Manchester United's dressing room during a furious critique of his players' performances in defeat to Brighton. The TV used to go through tactics before kickoff was caught as collateral and will require fixing before the Rangers game. So poor old Jim Ratcliffe is going to have to get a couple £100 out of his pockets, which he saved by cancelling the Christmas dues, to go and replace the TV, because chairs were flipped. Chairs were kicked. Tables were flipped, and every player was made aware to shape up or F off. And the players apparently weren't expecting this level of rage. You know, when we hear stories about Fergie throwing a boot and it hits David Beckham or something like that, this was apparently that kind of rant where he's throwing things, he's screaming. The players cannot believe what they're witnessing. It was Sin is that kind of rant. It was Sin as an all-timer as well. Alice, I sent you the TV Ineos brought LMAO. I've seen a few memes on Twitter where there's Ineos buying like the cheapest, deadest, like 1980s TV. What Gaz has just sent me the TV that Ineos would probably buy. Let me share this actually. That's quite funny, Gaz. this is obviously a joke, but obviously you know how Ineos are cost cutting. Everyone's joking that this might be the TV that that they replace it with. I've seen some of them, and like honestly, the rage was crazy. The absolute rage was crazy. So everyone's taking the mick. Is Stu Ratcliffe going to get like the crappiest TV ever? But no, they're actually going to get a big screen TV. They're actually going to get a big screen TV. Probably, I assume so. I mean, they might get that crap, but who knows? But yeah, back to the news. We got a bit off topic there, but honestly, such a shame this great club has fallen. We are fallen. We're a mess, and we'll talk about that later on. I don't think Amorim will be fined by the club. The biggest problem is the players, not the manager. Can you blame Amorim for losing his mind? Seriously, can you blame Amorim for losing his mind and temper? Honestly, this TV story is just hilarious considering about the trouble the club is in. If you don't laugh, you cry. The club is a mess. It's a disgrace, and you can't blame Amorim. He's lost his mind. Just the fact that this has been leaked out, I think, the fact that this much information gets leaked out about the club, and we know about this much that goes on behind the scenes and the leaks that we have. I have to say that is a disgrace. There's clearly someone leaking information. United Menace, he's got a good source in terms of leaks. But anyway, what else has been said by Laurie Whitwell? Now, Laurie Whitwell is a good and credible source of information. He said Ruben Amorim's reaction after Brighton was striking to those on the receiving end who have experienced angry managers before, but even more pronounced on this occasion before Amorim usually does not say a word in the immediate aftermatch. It was said that Ruben Amorim released his emotion after witnessing the loss against Brighton, fiercely voicing his displeasure at the United team and showing his frustrations physically. Apparently, Ruben Amorim, damage to the screen, but he was furious with players. The TV that goes before tactics for kickoff is, that needs replacing. Needs absolute replacing. And Amorim's not one to say much right after matches. He likes to think about it and debrief. But he went off. He unleashed his emotions, and after witnessing the loss, and it was said that Amorim's outburst sort of was known, it's been compared to what Fergie would do, the hairdryer treatment when Fergie was upset. It's left players speechless. It's left, according to United Menace, who this isn't just some guy that's making up stuff for clicks on Twitter. This is a guy that constantly told us Luke Shaw was injured, then it came out that Luke Shaw was injured. Mason Mount was injured, then it came out Mason Mount was injured. This guy's the guy that got in trouble for leaking all the injury news and info, and he's saying the rage in the dressing room. Tables flipped over, chairs kicked. Sir Alex Ferguson vibes from Amorim, love it, says Gabrielle. I mean, this is Sir Alex Ferguson vibes. Some was silent, some was speechless. He wants players gone. He's gone mental as well. You know what? Maybe the players need that, because what Ruben Amorim said after the Liverpool draw was that he was fuming with the Man United players because he can see what they can do. And he saw versus Arsenal and he saw versus Liverpool the fight from those Man United players. He saw effort and he saw pure fight from those Manchester United players. And then all of a sudden, Southampton and Brighton, we don't show that fight anymore. We don't show the same level of effort. And you cannot blame Ruben Amorim for being fuming. You cannot blame him one bit for being fuming. Because when he sees that they can put effort in the Arsenal match, in the Liverpool match, and he says he's fuming with them in the Arsenal match, in the Liverpool match, because why have they not shown the efforts the game before that? And, he's thinking, okay, I can see what they can do. Hopefully they don't let me down. They let him down versus Southampton. Ahmad bailed him out. And they let him down again versus Brighton. They've shown what they can do and they've let him down. The players don't care. When he gave headlines to the press, his face was already fuming. You could see the rage on his face. If you watched the post-match interview, you could see the rage. Because didn't he say something like worst Man United team ever? But he was saying it sarcastically. Amorim, worst team. I don't know what he said. Let me find the exact quote. Yeah, we are the worst. We are being the worst team maybe in the history of Manchester United, is what he said to the press. But if you looked at his face, he was absolutely livid. Absolutely livid. And Ruben Amorim came out saying that this is maybe the worst team in Man United history. And people are giving him a stick for that, but Ragnick did it. Obviously it didn't go down. He lost the dressing room, but Ragnick called out the players, and we liked Ragnick for that. Ruben Amorim is more than happy to call out the players. He's standing up for the managers before him. Amorim is doing the right thing. He's presuming the players as well as the board to get new people in. I think the fact that Amorim's lost it, I think the fact that he's had words with Sergio Ratcliffe, I think the fact that this cannot go on, I think this has prompted Ineos to spend. Dorgu's out there. Cunha, if we sell Garnacho, could be a possibility. There could be 2 signings coming in January, which is absolutely needed as well. Joking aside, if players who were thinking of coming to United saw this news, they'd think twice. I don't know. I think if you're a player thinking of going to United, of course you're going to think twice right now with the mess we're in. But I think this shows authority from the manager. That's what I think as well. Amorim should have expected that when he got the job. I think Amorim knew it was going to be tough, but I think Amorim himself probably underestimated how tough of a job it was going to be. I think him himself, because he's come into and inherited a squad that aren't good enough with bad attitudes, but also haven't got any players set up to play a system. And he's used Ahmad and got rid of Anthony, which is one thing Ten Hag didn't do. But yeah, I think Amorim's probably thought it was going to be tough, but I think when he knew that his sporting players, gave everything for him, I think he's disappointed with maybe how little some of the United players have given to him. Only potential problem with this approach from the manager is the group of players is that they will not play for him and result will continue to fail. The only worry about this is Rangnick used to call out, and you're right, Rangnick used to constantly call out the Manchester United players. He would call them out, he'd even name individuals, and Rangnick lost the dressing room, and the players got even worse under Rangnick than they did under Oli, because Rangnick completely lost the dressing room inside United because he was just calling out the players and exposing them for what they are. And that's something Ruben Amorim's got to be careful with, because I like that Ruben Amorim is calling out the players. I like that he's being brutal, but absolutely, these players will any excuse to turn on the manager, and they will. I'm just hoping that Ruben Amorim's got that authority to say, well, if you're not going to play for me, you're going to go, not me, and tell the Man United players that they've got to step up and not get another manager sacked, or they leave. I mean, that's the message. He basically said, step up or F off. I'm not going anywhere you are. And Ineos need to go out and spend some money and back Amorim to show the players he's not going anywhere you are. You've got a problem with Amorim, step up. Marcus Rashford briefing yesterday that he's ready to give his all for United again if Amorim lets him back and step up and give everything for Man United again. Marcus Rashford's realised, crap, Amorim ain't taking any stick. I've got to step up now, and give everything if I'm going to play again and get back in the squad. Marcus Rashford's an example of Amorim's discipline. And that's Ruben Amorim's message to the club, step up or F off. People saying Cunha going to Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal are the ones working on Cunha, but if Manchester United can sell Garnacho, they will go for Cunha. And apparently Cunha is a Man United fan, so maybe we have a bit of advantage over Arsenal there as well. What Amorim said was the truth. These players are on holiday at United. Yeah, it feels like they're on holiday. You need to sell a lot of players. A lot of players need to go. Only a certain amount will go in January as well. But yeah, why do our transfers take so long? We'll talk about that later on. There is transfer news as well. But yeah, what grown man cries after telling off? I don't know about the tears bit, but maybe he went mental and absolutely lost it at the players. Maybe he singled out a few individuals. These Man United players are emotional. We've heard about Garnacho crying because of the stick he gets online, Xerxes crying because of the stick he's getting. Ruben Amorim's gone mental, and some these Man United players have not seen it before. Oli was the nice guy. Rangnick gave it to them a little bit. Ten Hag, got angry, but he was weak in the dressing room. They've probably not seen this. This is Fergie level rage. The difference is the players knew that Rangnick was only an interim and not in charge long time. Amorim's there as a permanent head coach, and that is absolutely correct from Alex Marmon. I'm hoping that the players don't do what they did to Rangnick and just throw Amorim under the bus. I think because they know Amorim's permanent and Ineos are quite ruthless, and it's him or it's work under him or go. Hopefully they don't throw Amorim under the bus and he has the leniency to have those rages and call the players out, because at the end of the day, we're Man United fans. We've been supporting this club for years, and these players are continuously letting us down. The biggest problem at the club is the Glazers, 100%. But these players are not performing, not giving 100%, letting us down, because versus Arsenal, versus Liverpool, those players gave 100%. What happened versus Southampton? Ahmad bailed us out. What happened versus Brighton? I do worry sometimes. I do worry sometimes. If we lose on Thursday, Amorim's going to lose his mind. And you can't blame Amorim. Like, we are relegation level right now. Man United and Spurs are essentially in a relegation battle. We're relegation level right now. You can't blame Ruben Amorim one bit. You can't blame him one bit. Like, I honestly, when I saw this story, I thought, good for Ruben Amorim. Because I've had enough of these players. I've had enough of this bad attitude from Man United players to think that they can, perform like that versus Brighton. I get they don't suit the system. I get Brighton's a tough game. But I'm glad that Ruben Amorim has given them a chance, seen what they can do when they're good, realised that they've gone back to being crap and thrown them under the bus, and told them how he feels. Because hopefully these Man United players step up and realise that they're not safe. Doesn't matter who you are, you're not safe if you're going to perform like that. So that was some of the details on Ruben Amorim's rage as well. Soft crybaby's finally a wake-up call. Let's hope so. Ruben said we need to suffer together, and I'm happy to suffer with him. Back the manager. True. You've got to remember this, guys. With Amorim, it is, he wants to implement his system. Ruben Amorim could get us finishing 7th or 8th place if he adapts to a 4-2-3-1 and gets us from now to the end of the season. But that's what Ten Hag did, and that's what cost Ten Hag his job. Ruben Amorim's not going to adapt because it gives him this season to see which players can and can't do it in his system, so we go into the summer in a better position rather than having a step back next year. That's the situation under Ruben Amorim. It's not about adapting. It's about doing what he wants, and you either step up and you do it or you're out. You F off. That's what Ruben Amorim's saying, and I like that, and I respect that from Ruben Amorim. Step up or F off. Fair play from Ruben Amorim. Absolute fair play. And we've got to suffer. This is short-term pain for long-term gain. This season's going to be crap. This season's going to be a write-off. And yes, there's things Amorim could change up and we could finish 8th instead of 14th. But this is Amorim seeing who can do it, who can't do it, letting the players know he's not going to change for them. They have to change for him or they're out of this club. And Ineos have been quite ruthless with getting players out. Unfortunately, because of the stupid wages given to players before Ineos came in the door, it's going to be really difficult to get certain players out. But that's Ineos' message. People saying, I'm worried Amorim has lost the dressing room after these comments. Hopefully not, because I think Ineos will make it clear. If you don't back Amorim, you're out. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well said, Ruben Amorim, says Steve. Also, he wouldn't be damaging TVs if the players were actually doing their tactics. I don't think he meant to damage the TV, but where he's thrown the chair, he's obviously broke the TV as well. And now we know, now we will know for real who wants to play for Man United. Big up Amorim. I love the Fergie attitude. I agree. Do you know what worries me though? Is it looks like Garnacho doesn't want to play for United, and now he's been linked to a move. His head's there. There's reports about, does Garnacho want to be here anymore, and does he want to play for United? And we're going to talk about the Garnacho move and him being on the way out. But we're really going to see between now and the summer who wants to play for United, who's going to step up. Because right now, the only people on that pitch that I think want to play for Manchester United is one, Xerxes, because he rejected a move in January to get his career back on track for Man United. And actually, he's been all right the last few games. Xerxes wants to be here. Amad Diallo wants to be here. Bruno Fernandes wants to be here. Toby Collier wants to be here. Manuel Ugarte wants to be here. Dalot hasn't been his best, but he wants to be here. Mazraoui wants to be here. De Ligt wants to be here. Maguire wants to be here. Who else wants to be here? Which of these Man United players actually want to be here? Because now we're seeing who wants to be here and who doesn't want to be here. And Ruben Amorim has made it known, step up or F off. And those players that do not step up and do not give 100%, they'll be gone. Ineos will get rid of them because they'll realise you don't want to be here. And Ineos have got to say, doesn't matter what happens with the manager, we're going to back the manager over the players. Saeed says here, selling Garnacho might be a huge mistake. We're in a relegation battle. I don't trust anyone in the club except Amad, Maino, Ugarte, Garnacho, Martins and De Ligt. Must the future be built around them? I think selling Garnacho could be a massive mistake because of his potential and everything about it. If we're confident we can get Cunha in January and we can sell Garnacho and replace him with Cunha within 3 days, I'm okay with us selling Garnacho for that extent of Cunha's going to come in. But if we're going to sell Garnacho and no one's going to come in, it's a joke. And also, I don't want Garnacho to be sold till summer anyway. Or maybe not even at all. But I want Garnacho to be given more time under Ruben Amorim because he's such a young player to see if he can adapt and see if he can suit the system. I think there's worries around Garnacho and how he suits Ruben Amorim's system. He's not been tried at wing back. There's definitely a good player in Alejandro Garnacho. He's got the most goal contributions for players under age 21 in the last year and a half. There's a good player there. There's a reason a lot of top clubs in for him. And we're selling someone with potentially world-class potential. And I don't like that. It shows that United have fallen. It shows that we're a stepping stone club because now Garnacho wants to leave Man United. And I do not like that one bit. But at the same time, I also think, well, we need reinforcement. If selling Garnacho means we get Cunha in, I'm more open to it. But I'm not the biggest fan of the idea of selling Garnacho. But if we can get Cunha in, I'm open to it. But there's definitely worries about the direction of this club and us becoming, a selling club as well. Man United fans have always cried for a clear out, always cried about buying players of the system, cried about selling players and their value, but they don't want to get rid of Rashford and Garnacho. I'm not saying I don't want to get rid of Rashford and Garnacho. I'm saying if Ruben Amorim wants to get rid of them, you do you. But I think there's players we need to get rid of more than Rashford and Garnacho. That's what I'm saying. It's not like I think Rashford has to go because Ruben Amorim's made it clear he doesn't want him. Rashford has to go. Garnacho is one of those where if he goes and Cunha comes in who fits the system, fair enough. And if he goes for a right price and Cunha comes in, fair enough. But I don't want us just offloading Garnacho for the sake of it and not bringing anyone in and letting Garnacho go for 50 million. I want 70 million for Garnacho. 60 million might be the minimum. 70 million for Garnacho, you get Cunha in, that's a different story. But if they just went, yeah, Garnacho go, let's not let anyone else come in, we'll get less than 50 million for Garnacho, it wouldn't be a good look for United. It wouldn't be a good look as well. If Ahmad falls off next season, could United sell him too? Potentially, but I don't think he will. Ahmad's got that mentality as well. So let's dive into some more news. Let's dive into some stories. So if you've just joined, we were talking about Ruben Amorim's rage, player tears, the smashing of the dressing room, the TV needing replacement. We were sort of breaking down what's gone down in Ruben Amorim's rage. But what I am going to say is, I can't believe that was leaked. I can't believe every single bit of it, every single thing that happens inside this club is getting leaked. That's not acceptable. Whoever's leaking this information needs to stop. I bet it's the same person leaking the teams. But whoever's leaking that information, man, that needs to stop because we shouldn't be able to know everything that happens inside the club. We really shouldn't. United Faithful says, I don't care what Ruben Amorim did in the dressing room after the Brighton game. 100% backing him over every manager. He's right. Step it up. Fight for the badge or F off. Is what United Faithful said on Twitter as well. And a lot of people are sort of agreeing with me, fair enough to Amorim for losing his mind, but I hate the fact that this is being leaked. Why do we have to know about everything that goes on inside this club? Not a good look. I completely agree. Now, I do want to get into some transfer news. I do want to get into some stories and stuff outside of just Ruben Amorim losing his mind. So I do want to talk about the latest on Garnacho. But it's pretty crazy to know what's going on in the United dressing room, isn't it? Napoli and Garnacho have agreed on personal terms with contract that will keep him in Napoli. With a contract that will keep him in Napoli to 2034, 4 million euros per season. United are considering accepting 60 million bid in total. If Napoli make a 60 million bid for Garnacho, I think the move happens. If Napoli bid 60 million for Garnacho. So should we talk about the Garnacho news coming out, the Garnacho stories, the Garnacho transfer news? Because it looks like Garnacho's exit from Manchester United is close. It looks like Garnacho's exit from United is set to happen. So, what has been said in regards to Alejandro Garnacho leaving United? It was said that Garnacho is waiting for news about an agreement between Napoli and Manchester United for his transfer. He already has an agreement with Napoli on personal terms. So, we've had about 7 or 8 sources of information over the last week confirm that Napoli have agreed personal terms with Garnacho. Now, again, it's not been said by Romano, it's not been said by Ornstein, it's not been said by Laurie Whitwell, so I do take Garnacho agreeing personal terms with Napoli with a pinch of salt, but I believe there's been some kind of communication between Garnacho and Napoli. It has been confirmed by Romano that Conte's been on the phone to Garnacho, and Garnacho's maybe verbally said to Napoli, I'm willing to come. Because Napoli wouldn't be bidding or working on this Garnacho deal without any encouragement from Garnacho and his reps. So while I don't know if there's an actual contract that's been agreed between Garnacho and Napoli, because that's not been said by anyone reliable, it has been said by reliable sources, the contact's there, and Napoli aren't going to be pushing for Garnacho if they think he's not open to the move. Napoli, according to Melissa Reddy, are expected to accelerate their interest in Alejandro Garnacho. They're under the impression that Manchester United want to do business around the 60 million mark. Napoli's interest is more concrete than Chelsea. Napoli are in a title race. They've lost Kvaratskhelia. They have the money. I think Napoli could potentially pay up for Garnacho, especially with Chelsea in the race, and we could use the fact that Chelsea in the race to drive up the price. I think Napoli hit the £60 million mark. I think Man United sell him, and I think from what we're hearing, Garnacho himself is interested in going to Napoli. There's a lot of talk about personal terms being agreed. Garnacho said yes. Again, I don't know what the case is with that, but I don't think Napoli would make a move for Garnacho without any encouragement. Garnacho's agent's taking pictures of him at the Chelsea game. Garnacho's agent is doing what an agent needs to do. He's stirring the pot. He's taking pictures of himself at the Chelsea game. He's stirring the rumours that, there is talks with Chelsea and Napoli for Garnacho. I think Chelsea will be used and he'll go to Napoli. It makes more sense if he goes to Napoli, not just from United's perspective, but from Garnacho's perspective. Chelsea have got abundance of wingers. They might play you in the Conference League. And maybe Chelsea are being used to push up the price. But let's continue on into more news that's come out on Alejandro Garnacho's exit out of Manchester United. It's been said some Chelsea staff members really like the idea of Alejandro Garnacho joining in January. The meeting is now in progress between Napoli and Manchester United for Alejandro Garnacho to reach a solution that pleases everybody, and that Garnacho has agreed personal terms with Napoli. It's 3 different reports. Now, Chelsea are in for Garnacho, but I think Chelsea could be getting used to push Napoli. It seems to be Napoli to Garnacho seems to be progressing the most. There's a meeting going on right now to try and reach a solution that pleases everybody. But I think Garnacho's head could be in Naples. I generally think Garnacho's head could be in Naples at the moment. He's been getting a bit of stick from Man United fans lately. He reads it into social media way too much, way too much. I wouldn't be shocked if his head is in Naples, knowing that he's Conte's main man and that Conte wants him and he's going to be the star in the Kvaratskhelia replacement, and that the system suits him a lot more than the current system at United. Chelsea stockpiling, don't know how they can afford, because we've given 60 million for Mount, so they'll just pay the Mount money for Garnacho, who's a younger player with a better fitness record. It is what it is, eh? But I think, with Paez and Esteval coming into Chelsea, and they've got Neto, Madueke and Sancho, and while Neto and Madueke were pony yesterday and Madueke's goal covered it up, I just think that you look at Nkunku, you look at João Felix, who knows how much Garnacho gets played. I think he does play for Chelsea. He started over Sancho for Man United, and that was actually deserved because Sancho was crap for us, although Sancho's been a lot better at Chelsea. But who knows? He's just not guaranteed game time at Chelsea, so I think Napoli is a smarter move. But let's continue on into more news. It was said that Alejandro Garnacho is becoming reluctantly open to the idea of leaving United this month. Sources close to Garnacho say he has major doubts about his role in the 3-4-2-1 system. And I think that's my biggest doubt about Garnacho. I do not like the idea of selling a potentially world-class talent, selling a player as young as Garnacho. I do not like the idea, and I do not like the fact that United are looking at doing that. But then I also think, Garnacho is someone that likes to be wide. He's that kind of player. And does he suit Ruben Amorim's system? That there is sort of that fear. So at the same time, I can kind of get why Garnacho would be sold. I don't want Garnacho to go. I want to assess it in the summer. Maybe we sell him in the summer. I'd like to see him given a bit longer at United and a few more opportunities under Amorim before we judge. And I remember Paddy tweeted, when Garnacho leaves Man United, it will feel like the ultimate sliding door moment, a sign of how far we've fallen. When was the last time we sold someone world-class potential before they came world-class for us? United used to make stars, now it's a bit of a stepping stone. I don't like that, but then I also think if selling Garnacho means we can get Cunha in January, fair enough, because Cunha suits Amorim's system, is ready-made, Garnacho maybe doesn't. If people are saying Garnacho's shite, Garnacho's rubbish, he clearly doesn't fit the system. Garnacho's not been great lately, but let's not act like he's shite and a rubbish player. We do that. We hype up our young players when they first come through, make them out to be better than they are, and as soon as things don't start going their way because they've been with the United squad too long and they get sucked into the environment, we blame the youngsters. We get these bright youngsters that come through when the first team players can't perform. We hype up the youngsters, then the youngsters get dragged down with the first team players because the environment around them is absolutely shocking, and people write the youngsters off. You can't judge young players at United thrown in this shocking, unstable environment. I think Garnacho is a good player and has top potential, but Amorim needs players to play his system. And Garnacho, I don't think you can write him off. He's not been tried at wing back. He could definitely be moulded into someone that plays Amorim's system, but Amorim needs players now. And if Garnacho's head is in Napoli and he doesn't want to be at United and Ineos need the money for FFP, I get it, but I'm not selling Garnacho to bring in Dorgu. That's ridiculous. Sell Garnacho, bring in Mbeumo. Sell Garnacho, bring in Cunha. Sell Garnacho, bring in Semenyo. It's a different case. There's players like Garnacho and Dalot that I think are good players, but there is questions around how they fit the system. And yeah, I think there's a possibility Garnacho could go. It was said that Napoli continued to push for Alejandro Garnacho in a move driven by Antonio Conte. 2 offers placed to the date, and they are closer to Manchester United's valuation now. Chelsea also considering a bid, knowing Man United may reluctantly sell at around £59 million. This is from the morning show, but there's a feeling in the media that Napoli are going to bid up and hit that 60 million mark to get that Garnacho deal over the line. I think, with Fabrizio Romano saying that Cunha may be available, although Arsenal are favourites to get him, Man United may be more open to it now, because Man United have always wanted Cunha. Cunha's always wanted Manchester United as well. Arsenal fans seem quite confident they're going to get Cunha. It was said the Cunha situation is messy. The players apparently the player has agreed terms with Arsenal, but also with Wolves on a new deal, but is refusing to sign it because he feels he's got a chance of going to Arsenal and is trying everything to make the move happen. La-di-la-di-la. So Cunha staying or going to Arsenal is possible, said Arsenal sources. But I still think United could go for Cunha, even though Arsenal are above where we are at. I still think we have a chance of getting Cunha. I think Arsenal get Sesko. and Man United go for Cunha. Because Sesko's more what Arsenal need, and Cunha's more what we need. Arsenal need a natural striker goal scorer. Cunha isn't a natural goal scorer striker. He's a 10. Arsenal will play him as a left winger or a striker when he's a left 10. So I think Cunha suits United more. Sesko suits Arsenal more. But there is a feeling that, Arsenal are pushing for Cunha. Ben Jacobs said that Matheus Cunha is yet to sign his new deal at Wolves contract, despite verbally agreeing new financial terms. Parties still discussing the release clause based on whether Wolves stay up or go down. Cunha has been offered an important pay rise, even with a new deal, long-term deal. Wolves would be understanding of Cunha's desire to leave for the opportunities. Arsenal are currently in contact with Cunha's camp, but talks only informal at the stage. Wolves don't wish to sell in January, and that position will only change if there's crazy offers of £80 million. I think 80 million is very, very inflated for Cunha. I think 60 million, use the Garnacho money on Cunha, get it done, steal him from Arsenal, cause Arsenal rage, and that's what I like to see. That's what I like to see as well. Someone said Dorgu left wing back, Cunha left attacking mid, Delo moves to right wing back. Yeah, just imagine the difference having a natural left wing back and a natural left 10 will make to our squad, because the right hand side's quite good with Ahmad, but the left hand side's been lacking. Imagine the difference Cunha and Dorgu would make to the squad. And also, people got to remember that Amorim likes to play left-footed players at right wing back. So us signing Dorgu doesn't mean we won't sign Kirkes or bring Alvaro back. We could sign 2 left wing backs and one of them could just play right wing back in games, and then we can have Delo rotating in and out as well. People are saying Maino's not ready in our strikers at championship level. I think we've got better players than we think, and I think people are over the top on Maino. I just think you put Maino in a stable environment and everyone says he's a world-class player. You put our strikers in a better environment and I think they'll be better than what they're doing at United. I think some of our players aren't good enough, but I think our players are worse than they actually are right now due to the environment and due to all the changes going on at the club. And that's why we need a massive clear out to get some of those players out so we can bring new players in and build the right environment and build the right system. And it's annoying that we actually did have open heart surgery after Ralph Rangnick left. We spent 600 million. We got most of those players out and we're still crap. But this is the first time that Ineos will be doing that, not John Murta and Arnold that spent, over 150 million pounds on Anthony and Casemiro of the open heart surgery. So hopefully this time when we get open heart surgery, as we say, the money will be spent a lot better, because the way the money's been spent in the past is awful. Cunha's playing well after his career stalled at Atletico, so going to United could move for him. I mean, there's always that fear he goes to United and his career stalls again. But I do think as a player, he does suit Ruben Amorim's system. Like, if you think of left 10 role and you think of how Wolves are playing and how Wolves set up, Cunha plays as a left 10 for Wolves and he's thriving in that role. So why go to Arsenal and be a left winger that Arteta wants to hold the touchline, or be a striker when you're thriving in the left 10 role and Ruben Amorim plays the left 10 role? That's what I think. But Arsenal's a safer bet, I guess, in terms of stability. Thank you very much to LA Matthews for becoming a new member. Guys, make sure you check out Attacking Footy, because I will be joining LA later on, 6 p.m. on the Attacking Footy podcast tonight. So big up for joining. Prince says 1 wing back signing already fixes multiple solutions. Tactically, it does. I still think we need 2 wing back signings, and it could be 2 left wing backs, because one occasion you can shut them at right wing back. But imagine Dorgu now, Kirkes in the summer. Big up to Attacking Footy. Imagine Dorgu now, Kirkes in the summer. That's 2 wing backs. Cunha coming in at left 10 for Garnacho. And then I assume Rashford will go because Ruben Amorim's made it clear he doesn't want him. So then you've got to bring maybe a Gyökeres in or someone to replace Rashford. Maybe one of Xerxes or Højlund goes, you never know. Then a midfielder will definitely come in. I like Stiller, I like Belieber. And then I think a centre-back will come in. And potentially with sales, we could have a big rebuild in the summer, because I think there's a lot of players that could be leaving United. Palace have signed wonder kid Roman Eze and are now looking for another wonder kid, Juve. Are they? Doogie, yeah, he knows what he's doing at Palace. I'm still annoyed that Dan Ashworth got kicked out so early. I think Dan Ashworth would know what he was doing in this situation. Dan Ashworth was reluctant to bring Amorim in because the system was so different. Like, I'm glad we brought Amorim in, and I think with time, Amorim will work out at United. But you can't blame Dan Ashworth for being reluctant to bring Amorim in, because they just spent all this money and now they're relying on a manager that uses wing-backs. I feel like Dan Ashworth was sat because he wanted to have a bit more of a logical, patient approach. So there's a lot of news on Garnacho potentially leaving Manchester United, this and that. Obviously, Garnacho's agent and Man United probably having a sit-down meeting as we speak, which means we could get some interesting breaking news tonight. We've got updates on Marcus Rashford. We obviously had the report come out last night that Rashford's open to making up with Amorim and playing back for United. Now, look, you know me, I like Marcus Rashford. I think we need him in attack, to be honest, because I think he's gone better than Garnacho and better than Antony. But when you've heard what Ruben Amorim has said about Marcus Rashford in press conferences, and the fact that Marcus Rashford's been exiled for 10 games, we probably can't bring him back, because what the manager said about him says to me that Ruben Amorim doesn't want him to come back, and we have to, as much as I like Marcus Rashford and I think I'd rather him be playing left 10 so we can get some goals, and I thought he was good when he played left 10 versus Everton, if the manager has said, Marcus Rashford, I don't want him, and he's exiled him from the squad, and then we force him back and make him play with him, that is Ineos failure in January. Now, I think Rashford will move to Barcelona. I really think Rashford will move to Barcelona, and I think that will be done on deadline day. But, you know, they've got to back Ruben Amorim. They've got to back him. Ruben Amorim has given the players the hairdryer treatment. Now they've got to go and back him. Now, talking of backing him, the first signing under Ruben Amorim looks like Dorgu, who profile-wise I think is a very good fit for Ruben Amorim's system. It was said that Manchester United will meet with Lecce this afternoon for Patrick Dorgu. So we've just had a meeting with Napoli, probably, as I speak, about Alejandro Garnacho, la. We're now talking to Lecce about Dorgu. There seems to be lots of updates and news going in potential meetings. We're in Italy working on deals. It was said the prominence of Manchester United's move for Dorgu is now growing as Lecce president Stici not going to bother saying that, has arrived for a meeting with United. So we've got a meeting today to see if we can get the Dorgu deal over the line. I think we'll wait for Antony to complete his medical before we do make any moves, though, because I think part of it is linked to Antony leaving. And then I think there's a lot of news on Garnacho leaving, and I think there's a bit of news on potentially Rashford leaving as well. Alice, who's better, Onana or Dean Henderson? I mean, it's difficult to compare, but I thought Dean Henderson did really well when he had that stint under Ollie when De Gea was out for a bit. I have mixed feelings about Dean Henderson, but I think he could have saved us some money if we just kept with him, because I think he would have suited Ten Hag more than De Gea, to be honest. Anyway, it was said that Antony's travelling to Sevilla to complete his loan in the next few hours, and Luke Shaw's expected to return, which is positive news there. I think Antony's done. Dorgu, I think we should get done, but Napoli are trying to get involved. Maybe something to do with Garnacho, let's be honest. But the one to watch, I think, is Cunha. Apparently, Garnacho would rather go to Chelsea than Napoli, which is weird because he'd rather stay in the Premier League, but he suits Napoli more. It was said by Gastel that Alejandro Garnacho is very likely to leave United this month, but he wants to stay in the Premier League, but Chelsea need to make an offer. I do think that Garnacho and Man United, I think Man United are putting out information that Garnacho wants to go to Chelsea and would prefer to go to Chelsea to scare Napoli into putting up a higher bid. Napoli and Man United are having a meeting today. I think this information that Garnacho prefers Chelsea is a little bit of an attempt to scare Napoli so they can up their bid. Will we do anything for Tyler Dibbling? Tyler Dibbling's actually been linked to Tottenham, but his move in January seen as unlikely. It was said that Garnacho leaving is likely. That is the breaking news coming out. So I will keep you guys updated on everything in regards to Alejandro Garnacho, because a lot of news is coming out saying it's likely. If I get time tonight, I may do a bonus video if any big news comes out on Garnacho, because that seems to be heating up. I'd love to see us do something for Cunha, but who knows, people. But anyway, I want to just thank everyone for tuning into today's live show. By the way, we're on 104,894 subscribers as well. I'm only 6 subscribers away from 104.9k, which is 106 away from 105k. So big up everybody. Do subscribe if you're new, because I do 10-minute news roundups every day on the channel. There's going to be 10-minute news roundups where I'm going to sum up all the transfer news into a 10-minute video, and then there's going to be live streams where I get into the news, but I discuss it in a bit more detail with you guys. Get the live chat involved. Let wonder what you're thinking. We have been linked to Tyrick Mitchell, who I think is a bit underrated, to be fair, as well. We have been linked to a few left backs, but we're working on the Dorgu deal. But thanks everyone for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.